Hello, and welcome to this Soulstreaker ASMR video. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos, and check out the links in the description for streams, shorts, and all manner of other things. Thanks for listening, and now, on with the video. Hello, traveler. I have searched the area, and we appear to be alone. This should be a good place for us to camp for the night. What with us being around halfway to the farm for your quest? I would not travel at night. We are far safer remaining in one place until morning. And we need to rest after today's unexpected events. Traveler, are you well? You seem despondent. You've seemed like this for several hours. Traveler, I have noticed you have been acting differently. When we left Hammerfell, you had all manner of questions about this world, its people, its places and customs. But now, you seem quiet, but not at peace. Are you tired? Homesick, perhaps? You are, after all, far away from your home. Then, traveler, tell me, what troubles you? What is it that makes you so withdrawn? Is this about the monster that we fought earlier? Truthfully, this part of the world is normally quite safe. It was unusual to run into a raven boar out on the road, and such a violent one with mighty wings and honed tusks. Truly, that was a battle to be remembered. I see. Before this, you had never fought anyone or anything for your life. You say that there are no monsters in your world. I find that difficult to believe. Traveler, monsters come in all shapes and sizes. Though you may lack raven boars and dragons in your world, the greatest monsters meet you with a handshake and a smile. They stroll within the light of day with charisma and charm, but this is merely a facade, one that masks the darkness within. They divide, manipulate, profiteer from misery, and exploit their fellow man. These people who lack empathy, who hoard riches like a dragon sitting on a pile of gold. It is said that they are the truest monsters of all. So, you do have monsters in your world, but you have never fought one for your life. At least, not in the way that we did today. I see. In this world, most people fight for their lives as children, at some point. It is not strange for us as adults, but we all remember the first time we did so. Our first true exposure to that kind of violence. It is a harrowing experience. That, I believe, is what you are feeling now. Yet, you speak as though you are ashamed. Why? You are ashamed that during the battle you were not more helpful, that you were afraid. But you speak as though to be scared is a shameful thing. Oh, traveler, you have much to learn. Allow me, a grey muzzle, to impart you some small measure of wisdom. Whatever you have been told in the past, I tell you on this day, it is a fine thing to be scared. It is good to be overwhelmed, and you should not judge yourself harshly for these feelings, for they are part of you. Battles are ugly, violent things. Fear is a potent force. Monsters are scary, but then many things are scary. Stress is scary. News can be scary. Doctors, bosses, teachers, many things in this world and yours can be scary. You might even say that, in a way, to be afraid is to be alive. Traveler, you are the wonderful person that you were born to be. Just as the eagle chick hatches from the egg with a violent breaking of the shell, it will one day soar above the clouds. The pain of fear is merely the first step on a journey. Yet, just like how the chick must break the shell, you must accept your fear, your hesitance, and allow those feelings to flow. For some things, and for some people, it will be quick and easy. Or you may have to return to the source of your fear over and over, going just an inch further each time. I am certain that you have many stresses and strains, many doubts and fears, and I am here to tell you, those feelings are normal. Many worry that they are not good enough, or do not provide enough. They worry they will not succeed, or they fret over things they have done in the past they cannot change. But your feelings are valid. Your feelings of worry, of stress, of fear, they are real because you feel them. I tell you, you have worth. You have value. And these feelings do not diminish that. It is not immature to feel sad. It is not childish to cry. It is not weak to allow yourself to be fearful. If you feel sad, you are not weak, or foolish, or childish. If you are afraid, even right at this moment, you are not weak, or foolish, or childish. If you are feeling stress, even over things that seem innocuous, you are not weak or foolish or childish. You are simply a person with stresses and strains, fears and worries, and these are normal. Everyone has them. It is wrong to simply say, "Do not worry," or "Worrying never helps," because if we could simply stop worrying, we would never choose to worry. You may not be alone. People around you may help you, can give you their strength, or you can search for resilience within yourself. But if those feelings ever become too much, please promise, reach out to those people who are employed to help, those who are expert in the craft of thought. I am not one of those people, and my advice can only provide so much. I tell you, such people have helped me immeasurably in times when all other paths led to darkness, and I owe them my life. Regardless, traveler, I am here with you now. Yet, while there are limits, it is healthy to take time for yourself. Just as we are camped here to rest our bodies and sleep, you should give your emotions room to breathe. You should allow them to come to the fore and see the light of day, to express them, move through them, just as the rain must fall for the storm to pass. Now, sit up. I will sit behind you and place my chest against your back, and we shall breathe together. I promise this will help you relax. Follow my breathing. Breathe in through the nose. Hold it. Out through the mouth. And again. And out. And in. And out. And continue. Are you more relaxed? Good. But I can see in your eyes that the events of today weigh heavily on your mind. Then, little one, sit close, and I will tell you the story of Talisar, the Elf King. For in the morning world, when the mountains and seas were still young, and gods and dragons fought in the skies, the elves came to this world from the plain of Furry. Ruled by their queens, they built the first empires, towns, villages, and cities, great settlements of living buildings, grown from the trees, lit by sunfruits that hung from their boughs, that soaked up light during the day and shone like the moon at night. Which is why, even today, the capital city of the elves is named Lunara, after the goddess of the moon. But the peace of the elves would be shattered when, as the sages had predicted, a scarlet star shot across the sky, carving the heavens in two, and heralding a new age when the minds of dragons were wiped clean and gave way to passion and instinct. This time was known as the Dragon Strife, and the elves cowered in fear as dragons razed whole cities to the ground, driven mad by the power of the Scarlet Star. And it was during this that Ravak, said to be the mightiest of the blue dragons, with claws like razors and a roar that could curdle the blood of the bravest warrior, would be sent tumbling down to the earth with a crash. In an instant, it was over. There was no battle, no wailing or crying. Ravak crushed an entire elven village, leaving no one alive. Save for one. For that night, the elf child, known as Talisar, the village chief's son, had wandered into the forest nearby to dance and play with the fauns and dryads and listen to their music. But when the dragon struck the ground, the earth trembled and the music fell silent. Talisar made his way back to his village and, from a distance, saw Ravak, dazed and confused, lying in the wreckage of the elf's home. Talisar was, until that night, a child, and still held onto the beauty of childish innocence. But he had heard stories of great heroes and warriors, and had often picked up a stick, as children are wont to do, and pretended that it was a great sword that protected the righteous. In that moment, he knew that his family and home were no more, and, in a mixture of rage and tantrum, he marched towards the ruined village and the great dragon who lay there, to confront the beast like those great heroes of old. The dragon was far away and small, and he was a great warrior. But as he approached closer, the dragon seemed larger. He could see its chest rise and fall with its breathing, and his tiny hands began to tremble. Still closer, and he could see the creature's jaws, as his heart beat a rhythm that thundered in his ears. And soon he stood before the dragon, able to see Revek's ultramarine blue scales shimmering in the moonlight. His legs shook, his breath faltered, and before he could speak, the creature's great eyes began to open. And this was all that Talisar could take. His heart dropped in his chest, and his fear overcame his reason. He turned away from the dragon, away from the ruins of his home, and ran. He ran through forest and thicket, over ford and hedge, through field and river. The sun rose and he ran, his tiny feet beating the dirt, mud, grass. The sun fell and the moon would rise, but his heart, driven by relentless fear and shame for his cowardice, pushed him to run, 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 never stopping. For stopping brought terrible thoughts. He knew not where he ran, only that the dragon and his ruined home were at his back. Until it is said that at nightfall he came to the lake of stellar tears, where it is believed that the stars themselves go to mourn their dead. The lake was vast and wide. Were he of sound mind, he might have run along the edge, or perhaps fashioned a boat. But, driven by his incalculable fear, the elf child plunged into the water and began to swim. No sooner had he swum far enough that he could not see the shore in any direction, and his body could take no more. He began to sink. Yet, just as he believed that this would be his end, his feet touched solid ground. He had reached a rise in the middle of the lake and stepped along the lake bed until he reached a point where the lake was only 6 inches deep. He knelt, feeling his legs submerge in the cool water of the lake, his body clammy from the run and the warm night air, and there, bruised, exhausted, and gripped by unimaginable grief and shame, he wept. Far away from land, from other elves, gods, or dragons, his darkest moment would have gone unnoticed. His tears rolled down his face and chest and dripped from his body into the lake and mingled with the tears of the stars. But Talisar was not entirely alone. For from the heavens, Polara, she who is called the Stellar Mother, the spirit of the North Star, looked down upon his tiny form in the middle of the Great Lake. It is not known why she took pity on the elf child. Some say it was the mixture of his tears with those of her children. Others say that Talisar's grief and shame was such a pure, raw expression of unbridled emotion as to move the very heavens themselves. But, of course, man cannot always reckon with cosmic forces, nor can mortals ever truly know the minds of immortals, and Polara, it is said, is both. A shaft of starlight pierced down from the sky, and Polara descended to the lake, walking upon the water, her feet making only the slightest ripple on its surface. Sensing he was not alone, Talisar looked up, seeing Polara's true form. She was human-like, but over 11 feet tall, and not merely tall of stature, but motherly of figure, with porcelain skin and hair that shone with the color of starlight, and eyes like the flowers that grow upon the mountains of Etheirys. Confronted by this perfect creature in his moment of shame, Talisar backed away in fear. But no sooner did he move than the great Stellar Mother swept up the suffering child in her arms and held him close. And with a voice that broke as the rumbling of distant thunder, she said, "Child of the Fae, you who have lived so little, yet feel such grief and pain, tell me your story." Talisar tried to refuse, but her voice was soothing, and her touch was warm. He found himself unable, and through great sobs, he told her of his home, of Ravek, of his run and swim to the middle of the lake. But Polara sensed he was not being fully truthful, and finally, the elf told her of his cowardly failure to confront the dragon. And in her arms, Talisar cried and wailed and wept for 9 days and 9 nights. But on the 10th day, when the elf child finally began to tire of his grief, Polara, filled with pity for the poor creature, dried his face with her starlight hair. She then held him close and looked directly into his eyes and told him that he had not failed, and that to throw his life away for no reason, when he, a child, could not hope to confront or defeat Ravek, would accomplish nothing, and that would be failure. And then she shared with him the wisdom of an immortal star, the knowledge that bravery, for its own sake, was not courage, but mere foolishness. Duty called her back to the heavens to shine as the North Star once more. But before she left, she told Talisar to remember, whenever he felt afraid or worried or ashamed, that he had already survived so much, and that, even though he was only a fearful child, and not a great warrior, or rich merchant, or king, that the Mother of Stars had witnessed his grief, and, in her wisdom, found him worthy of her pity. What happened to Talisar after that, you ask? Well, he would, one day, confront Ravek, and later would ascend to the throne of the elves and wear a crown forged from the very essence of starlight. But those, as they say, are other stories. You seem calmer, traveler. Good. It is time for you to turn in. But I sense tension I will keep watch. Any monster that comes will fall to my blade, whether those be of flesh and blood or emerge from the darkness of sleep. Here, traveler, you are protected. You are safe. Of this, I give you my vow. While traveling close to Sarasa, near Felmar, while on the road, I met a monk on leave from his monastery. He taught me a technique to help relax for sleep. I shall teach it to you. Listen, traveler, and I promise you will come to restful slumber. Now, feel your toes, your feet. Move them. And now, relax them. Feel them fall to the mattress or the floor and sink. Now, your knees. Relax them. Let them straighten or kink however you wish, but let them relax. Your waist and core. Exhale and allow it to soften, to relax. Feel your lower body sink and slumber. Feel your fingertips, your hands and elbows. Let your arms drift. Lie them on your chair, your mattress, on yourself. But let them sink as if into deepest, darkest wood. Now breathe in. And as you exhale, let your shoulders slump back, sinking down, down, down. Relaxed. And without moving, just be conscious of your face, your forehead, your cheekbones, and most importantly, your jaw. Let your jaw unclench and let your face relax. And with that, let your body submerge, sink deeper and deeper and deeper. Tomorrow, our journey to the farm and your quest will resume. But for now, traveler, rest, sleep.